Kenny Johnson is back deep for the Panthers. And remember last week against Carolina, that 100-yard kick return touchdown for the freshman who said it felt like a movie, something you would dream of. Low boots it away for a touchback. And we do get a look at Phil Jurkovec. It was right before halftime in that final minute in the game against the Heels, the lower body injury.
Yeah, and he's just running the football to the sideline. It was really a play that didn't need to happen, but as he goes down, he gets contacted up high, he gets bent back, and that's where the lower body injury came. And so I believe it's more knee than ankle after watching him warm up pregame. But he was off to a good start. You see 11 of 15. He was efficient. They need him to do that again tonight.
For the sixth-year senior playing back with his hometown team, that was maybe the best half he had played. On first down, it's a run with Rodney Hammond. Just a yard, and they want to get a lot of touches to him. And maybe with the decreased mobility of Jurkovec, you certainly see more of Hammond.
Yeah, because Jurkovec is a good runner. Hammond, though, is their best runner in terms of ball carriers in the backfield. One of the other things to note, because I thought there was a false start by the left side of that Pitt offensive line, is how they handle this crowd noise, especially with Terrence Moore making his first career start at center.
58 in white, was in there against Carolina and now walks into this scene. Very different from Acrisure. Hammond again, and he is dragged down by Kelly Lawson, the leading tackler for Virginia Tech. Last week against Marshall, had a dozen plus a pick, and it brings up third down.
And that's an important start for Virginia Tech defensively. They need their linebackers to play better. They're not the heaviest of guys, but they are fast. That's good flow to the football from Kelly Lawson. And now I would expect this place to be rocking on the first third and long.
Norrell Pollard trying to help that cause against Phil Jurkovec and the Panthers. Third down and 10 and conservative. Hammond breaks a tackle, takes it out past the 30. 7 yards, tackle made by Alan Tisdale, and it brings up fourth down and a Pitt punt.
Listen, that's an important stop for them. When you just look at how Virginia Tech has struggled defending the run, to face 3 runs to start this football game and get off the field certainly is encouraging for Chris Marv's group on the defensive side.
How many times did we hear Brent Pryce say run fits yesterday when we met with him? Tucker Holloway is dangerous as a return man. He lets this one go out of bounds, shy of the 30. All right, so we talked about Phil Jurkovec on one side, and you mentioned how much you like Kyron Drones, and he can really run.
I think he ends up being a good fit for Virginia Tech, but struggling to find playmakers. And why that matters is because this is the type of playmaker he is. Ball in his hands, play breaks down or design run. In this case, play breaks down on a boot, take off and get a big play. So I think that element, that added element in his competitiveness is really good for this Virginia Tech offense with where they are right now.
It's been 22 carries and 15 carries in his first couple of starts, and he pitches this one to Bhayshul Tuten, who gets rocked by Marquez Williams, flipped over for a loss of 3.
Yeah, and that's a good example of Marquez Williams. A lot of these Pitt defensive backs, they're physical players. That's a good job of Williams just setting the edge and making the tackle.
So we talked Drones running. Virginia Tech, they want to stay committed to the run. Felt like even though they had success running it against Marshall, maybe got away from it.
Yeah, got away from it. And I think touches for Bhayshul Tuten, when you just look at last week, only 9 carries. They want to do better than that.
Flip it again to Tuten, and the transfer lowers the shoulder and breaks the tackle of Donovan McMillan and goes out of bounds to bring up third down and short.
And to stick on Tuten, one of the things that they were talking to us about was, look, very rarely does the first guy get him down. And Donovan McMillan, number 3, has been an excellent tackler for Pitt this season. But Bhayshul Tuten, who goes about 205 pounds, is a very physical runner and very rarely goes down with just one tackler.
Had 88 yards last week on only 9 carries. Drones keeps, and he picks up the first down. How many carries you think for Kyron Drones in this game?
You know, it's interesting. I think if you're around 15 carries, and so if that means 10 of them are designed, 5 of them are scrambles, I think that's probably a pretty good number, Mike.
His third career start, the redshirt sophomore transfer from Baylor. Kept it, flipped it under pressure from Dayon Hayes, and Jalen Lane cannot get back to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 2. Kyle Lewis, the redshirt freshman, in on the stop, making his second career start. Still no Bengali Kamara.
Yeah, dangerous play here. Basically triple option. Dive, keep pitch. He goes to the pitch. They're trying to get lane touches as well. But that's an excellent job with the Pitt defense of playing assignment football, having somebody on the quarterback as well as on the pitch man.
The Pitt defense, 12th in the country in total defense, fewer than 300 yards allowed per game. Drones takes a deep shot, looking for Daquan Felton for a touchdown! 54 yards!
Virginia Tech talked a lot about getting playmakers the ball, especially getting guys at wide receiver to step up. At 6'5", Daquan Felton's one of those guys they wanted to get an opportunity to.
They said contested catches downfield from Daquan Felton. This, 54 yards.
And this one's not contested because he just uses his speed, just runs a straight go route, and then it is a beautiful ball by Kyron Drones. Couldn't hand it to him any better, and Virginia Tech is off to a good start.
Virginia Tech in its ACC opener, second straight week with a touchdown on its opening drive, and just the second first quarter touchdown for the Hokies that they have scored this season. A touchback for Pitt to start its second possession after the touchdown to Felton.
When you look at it, it's just man across the board. So it's man across the board here. And what happens is with the post run into the middle, you get isolated down at the bottom and just wins on the release. It's Felton's speed versus MJ Devonshire's speed. And as Devonshire looks back to find the football, Felton keeps his speed up, and it's a perfect throw. An absolutely perfect throw by Kyron Drones. So Felton stepping up is something that they talked a lot to us about when they're talking about getting more production out of the wide receiver room.
And knowing that Pitt plays so much man like we've known through the years. Play action, and Phil Jurkovec's first throw is a shot downfield for Bub Means. Breaks away for a touchdown. How's that for a response?
Like we said at the top, Mike, high-flying offenses exploding. Play after play for scores. Look, it definitely is a shot play on first down, and it's perfect. Off of the play action, they're just running a post from Jurkovec's left. Off of the play action, you get a low safety who gets held by Kenny Johnson in the middle of the field, and then it's Bub Means, who they've been trying to get going. Just his speed against Derek Canteen, and that was enough.
Bub Means has entered the chat. He throws up the 1. It's his first touchdown of the season in year 2 of the Panthers. And Ben Sauls is good on the extra point.
You know, they've struggled to stop the run. And I think some of the concern now is like, wait a second, we're trying to stop the run. But here's what happens. You look at these safeties down this low, coming off of the play action. You're just running to the post, and there's nobody in the middle of the field. You see Kenny Johnson pulls the safety over, and then it's just pure speed by Bub Means against Derek Canteen. And then just like we saw Kyron Drones have a perfect throw, Phil Jurkovec with a perfect throw to Means.
And worth remembering with Derek Canteen, he's been their Swiss Army knife. He's been a nickel. He's locked some snaps at safety as well, but on the perimeter matched up with ostensibly one of the top 2 wideouts for Pitt, because injuries again in the secondary for the Hokies, who have moved Mansour Delane from corner to safety, shuffling on the back end.
Yeah, and it's probably a pretty good job of just saying, all right, I gave you a taste. This is by Frank Signetti Jr. I give you a taste. The first drive out, 3 runs. And so the response is, all right, we're going to crowd everybody up there to stop the run. And then first play, a shot play.
How's this for quarterback numbers? A touchdown pass for each on their first pass attempt of the night. 54 and 75 yards for Drones and Jurkovec. The touchback, we're not even 5 minutes in. We got smiles from Phil Jurkovec.
Yeah, and he should. I mean, look, it's been a struggle up until the first couple series last week against North Carolina. And I believe he's a better player than what we've seen. Now, part of that is he hasn't been protected well, and Frank Cignetti did tell us, look, the better we can protect him, the better we can run the football, like the better he is going to play. And he had some protection and obviously hit a big play.
So now the second possession for Virginia Tech. Daquan Wright, the tight end, in motion on a pitch for Tuten. Burrows ahead for a few yards. Shane Simon, the sixth-year senior captain and Mike linebacker, in on the tackle.
And it's clear right away, Tyler Bowen is trying to get to perimeter runs. You know, they talked about, listen, running the ball is one thing, but getting to the right runs, they are trying to get to the edge of this Pitt defense. And I think probably because inside, Pitt's hard to move. And so Tyler Bowen has come out and I think said, look, we're going to test some of these toss plays to see how you flow to the football.
A run again to Tuten. Springs forward for a couple of yards, picks up 2. Shane Simon in there again, brings up third down. So the right runs, in your mind, are getting to the edge?
Well, I think that's what they've wanted to try. They're typically an inside zone team, but when you do that, you got to get some movement inside. And I think that's something that they've struggled with.
Worth noting for Pitt, on the interior of its defense on the line, no Devin Danielson. He did not make the trip, so the Panthers down 2 starters defensively for Randy Bates along with Kamara. On third down, it's broken up. MJ Devonshire in coverage with the slant intended for Daquan Felton. Fourth down.
And Devonshire wins this matchup, does a nice job of not allowing his right hand to get into the picture in terms of grabbing, gets that left one around, and I think if the ball's probably a little bit more out in front, there's a chance that Felton kind of stick his hands out to grab it, but that's a nice play by Devonshire, especially coming right back after getting beat the last drive.
He's back deep to return, led the ACC in punt return yards last year. Peter Moore wears the 25 for the Hokies in this one, and this one goes tumbling right near the 35 and out of bounds, where Pitt will have it when we come back.
Brought to you by the Honey Baked Ham Company. Game day is a honey baked day.
Oh, just 320 yards for Izzy Abanikanda last year against Virginia Tech, breaking Tony Dorsett's single-game Pitt record and 6 rushing touchdowns, which also tied the ACC record. And life after Izzy, a few different guys.
Yeah, but, you know, it's been a different running attack this season. Obviously have some really talented backs that have been a part of this program. Abanikanda, one of those guys, and Rodney Hammond Jr., another talented back that they're trying to get going.
It was busy on the first drive. Gets it here to start drive number 3. Picks up just a yard. He's from Norfolk, Virginia. He told us this week he's got a lot of people here watching. He's been their leading rusher, and good to know that he's healthy, he assured us after getting banged up against Carolina.
Just look at that. When you think about Pitt, offensive linemen that they get to come to this program, backs that they get, but they have not had a 100-yard rusher yet this season, is a bit surprising.
And it's been all Hammond so far. Next in line is Sibo Flemister. On second down and 9, a play fake, and Jurkovec incomplete, intended for Bub Means.
He just misses him. He's got Means running a deep cross. He's wide open. It's zone coverage. Just got to layer that football in there. I mean, you can just see it. Guys were walked up in the line. You basically need to drop that down over Tisdale's head, and if you hit Bub Means, he's got some room to run as well. As
we already saw, Frank Cignetti told us they've been waiting on that Bub Means breakout.
Yeah, and Frank Cignetti just called a play to get him open, and Jurkovec's just got to hit him.
Third down. Play clock winding down on Pitt. They get the snap back to Jurkovec. Throws across the middle and batted down by Alan Tisdale to get a stop.
Well, and Jurkovec gets drilled by Antoine Powell-Ryland. And I don't know that he sees this perfectly. Left side, 52. He's going to come here, and he's going to end up getting a good piece of Phil Jurkovec. Inside move. And I think because the clock was sped up for Jurkovec, he's fortunate that this ball wasn't picked off because Tisdale is standing right there in the middle of the field.
APR, Antoine Powell-Ryland, the redshirt junior transfer from Florida, who they brought in because they needed to win more one-on-one battles. Tucker Holloway backs up all the way inside his 10 and is wrapped up at the 16. Down to Taylor.
I know earlier tonight we saw that beautiful touchdown pass from Kyron Drones to Quan Felton, and I asked him when I was on the phone with him this week, I said, what do you say to the people who say you're just a running quarterback? No hesitation. He said, that's not what I am. I'm trying to show that every week. Yeah, I do have a run package in me, i.e. those 15 rushes he had last week, but I'll do whatever it takes to win, and that includes passing the ball. I'm going to keep showing people, and guys, I think he just showed some people on that one.
Sure did, and he rolls out left side, dumps it off to Quan Felton again, and he gets to the edge before he's run out by Marquez Williams to bring up second and short.
And that's a good way to get completions and touches for, completions for your quarterback, touches for a talented receiver. Just running behind the line of scrimmage on a little boot rather than using a tight end to slam release into the flat. Good easy completion, good start on first down.
Takes the pitch to Malachi Thomas as a first down. What have you seen from Drones as a passer?
I think he throws a pretty ball. He's got plenty of arm strength. The ball comes out of his hand great. I think what ends up being tricky is when you are a good runner, you run quarterback power, and then, hey, drop back and be accurate throwing the football. That's difficult to do, and so I think you need to have that context every time you see him as a passer. It's the same, Mike. It's the same philosophy as if you're a good foul shooter, like what kind of foul shooter are you if you have to sprint up and down the court 15 times? Like you're not as good. That same thing can happen to a quarterback.
They ran it there with Malachi Thomas, who got swallowed by DeAndre Jules. Midway through this opening quarter in Blacksburg. Drones rolls out. Throws on the money. It's Felton again, and it's a first down. Out to the 40 on a gain of a dozen.
And that's a good example of what does the ball look like coming out of his hands. Well, I mean, look at him on the move to the right. This is beautiful. And then again, it's Felton coming across, being a hand catcher away from your body. That's really well done. Right to the face mask, basically. It's an excellent throw by Kyron Drones, and Quan Felton off to a great start.
He had 3 catches in the entirety of the game last week against Marshall. A 7-point loss. He's got 3 already, and now a flea flicker. Drones, another shot, and just too strong, intended for Felton.
I like the aggressiveness. One thing I'd say is he's tired. He runs an over route, catches the football. Now you run a flea flicker, and he's the deep post runner. And you can see him, he just runs out of gas. I think I maybe would have had that as a second down call, considering he just caught the over on the previous play.
As a quarterback, do you sense that from your wide receivers?
As a quarterback, no, you're doing it, and I think as a play caller, it's just something to keep in mind.
Tuten is slammed in the backfield by DeAndre Jules, making his presence felt. The 5th-year senior has been a backup in his career, but he's been loud so far.
Yeah, and you see him right in the middle, number 0. He's just going to win right away, get the penetration. See that rip move, get skinny, and then tackle for loss, and now creates a 3rd and long. And that against this Pitt defense is a dangerous place to be because they try to confuse you with a blitz look and then try to have some type of trap coverage behind it.
No Felton on the field, so on 3rd down, it's Tuten plowing out toward the 45, and the pile pushes to the 48, and it brings up 4th down and 2.
Listen, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they would consider to go for it here, especially after running the football. It looks like they are going to bring the punt team out. Here's, a lot of people look at, hey, why are you running the football on 3rd and long? Against the Pitt defense, you get into a known passing situation. They got guys walking around all over the place. I think sometimes you're just hoping to split them, something North Carolina did against them last week. Other people have done it. Tyler Bowen has done it in the past when he was at Penn State. And so they nearly got him there with about a 10-yard run.
Yeah, that's the exact conversation you had with him yesterday about running on third down against him. MJ Devonshire lets it bounce into the end zone. In CL in camp. Week 2, true freshman B.J. Williams replaced him on the line. And then week 3, Williams was hurt, so Collier went back in. But in that game, Matt Gonsalves, the left tackle, got injured. So last week, Gonsalves was out. He's now out for the season. Jay Cradle is out tonight for a second straight game. So Terrence Moore making a second consecutive start, just like Ryan Baer at right tackle. It's a rollout and a completion to the tight end, Gavin Bartholomew, who tries to go hurdling like he did last year against Tennessee. He's got to be involved.
Yeah, he has to be involved. One of the ways you get him involved is running some of these boots and nakeds. It also helps that offensive line that has been shuffling guys around, because you just get them going one way. Sell outside zone to the left. Get Jurkovec on the move. It's also a good sign that Jurkovec is healthy enough to get on the move. And then I think getting Gavin Bartholomew more involved is something they need to do. He seems like he just makes plays every time the ball comes his way.
He leads them in receiving yards. Play fake. Jurkovec under pressure, launches again, and undershot means, and a diving bid, and it falls incomplete just out of the reach of Derek Canteen.
Very similar play to the touchdown pass that Jurkovec hit Means on earlier, just running him on a post, and he just doesn't get enough on it. And Canteen is trying to get this football, clearly is on the ground, and if Jurkovec could have got enough on it, I think there was a chance that Means had Phillips beat, but Jurkovec, with pressure in his face, wasn't able to get it out there.
Bub Means, who's got that blazing speed, was clocked at 4.36 in the offseason. Second down and 10. It's Hammond. Seems to always find extra yards. That's what he told us this week. He feels like his strength is extra yards when our team needs him.
5'9", he kind of just wiggles his way through there, doesn't he? Almost like some people can't find him, you know, as he's sorting his way through the line of scrimmage.
He checks out ahead of third down and 2. And Pitt brings on the 230-pound fifth-year senior, the powerful Daniel Carter. Panthers 0 for 2 on third downs in this opening quarter. Carter met and stopped, and it brings up fourth down.
And it's Alan Tisdale, 34. He's the middle linebacker. He's a guy that hasn't really played middle linebacker until this season, and he's just going to come inside here, just play downhill, see it, play fast, and look, he, I think, is one of the keys to maybe stopping the run better if you're Virginia Tech.
You like this call?
Well, I like the fact that Brent Pry is calling a timeout because he was running his returner out onto the field, but Pitt had their offense still out there.
So Pat Narduzzi getting aggressive at midfield.
I would say this. Do I like this call right here? I don't. Look, it is a 7-7 game. You're on the road. Your offense has kind of struggled. You know, it's not like yes, Virginia Tech has struggled to stop the run, but we just had a graphic up. You haven't had a 100-yard rusher all season long. You're not running the football well. You trust your defense. The best thing Pitt's done this year is play good defense. Punt the football, pin them back inside the 20, and play good defense against, you know, an offense with Kyron Drones, who, you know, has less than 10 career starts under his belt.
Instead, the Panthers go for it in enemy territory. High formation. Carter, the fullback. Hammond dots the I. 2 tight end set. Hokies don't jump. Three times they didn't bite. And Pat Narduzzi apparently agreed with you.
Yeah, and I think taking the delay is not going to be a big issue.
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
I do think there's an element of this, though. By doing that, part of what happens is that it gets the crowd into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just go ahead and punt the football. It's like, hey, you got to stop on 3rd down. You go and do that. It grabs everybody in this building's attention and gets them on their feet going crazy, and they feel like they are affecting the football game.
Caleb Junko gets it off from the 35.
That might be a 3-yard punt, Mike.
Not what he had envisioned. Hey, well, we got a moment. If you want the full day in ACC college football, you want to tune in for the huddle. The entire crew will be on tonight post-game live from here in Blacksburg, and then next Saturday, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, the site starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. All the highlights and all the news, the huddle, right here on ACCN. It's 11 on the punt.
I was off. It was bad, but I was off. It looked like a 3-yard punt.
In the vicinity. And so you talk about quieting the crowd. Well, Hokies get excellent field position starting out at their 45. Bhayshul Tuten slips a tackle, gets to the 2nd level, and plows ahead inside the 30. Trying to run over Donovan McMillan. Tuten on the ground for 26 yards.
You can see the effect of Kyron Drones' backside as a runner. You got 2 defenders kind of hanging for him, and then Tuten's able to get through the arm tackle of Shane Simon.
And how about this? The first play run by either offense in the opponent's territory. And it's Tuten again. He got wrapped up there by the freshman linebacker, Braylon Lovelace.
You know, it's interesting. Talking to the coaches about Bhayshul Tuten before the Old Dominion game, they were really excited about him, but they were also saying, like, look, we're going to see him play at this next level. You know, you see somebody play at a, you know, in high school, that level of competition, or maybe a different level of competition in college. What will he look like? And he's been impressive.
Was an FCS All-American last year. Drones on the run, too tall, intended for Jalen Lane, who's been quiet so far in this first quarter. Brings up 3rd down. Lane just back from a hamstring injury last week. Only had 1 catch against Marshall. Tyler Bowen said to us he is very close, if not 100%. Hokies 1 of 3 on 3rd downs so far. Malachi Thomas with 1 cut, and he takes it close to the line to gain. Donovan McMillan, the Florida transfer, in on the stop, and it's 4th down.
And I feel a little bit differently about going for it in this scenario with a 230-pound quarterback who's a threat as a runner. I would want Tuten in the backfield. Not that Thomas is a small back, but that would be the preference.
There's the 234-pound quarterback. That works.
And I like the call. I mean, it basically is, what are the Philadelphia Eagles calling it? The tush push, basically. You know, it's the quarterback sneak where, you know, you get Daquan Wright, a big tight end behind him. So you got the 234-pound quarterback with a 250-pound tight end behind him. I'm not going to try the math, but it's a lot. It's near 500 pounds pushing it forward.
Coming up on 30 seconds to go in this first quarter. Tuten trying to slip free, and Braylon Lovelace, the sure-handed tackle. We told you the rookie, an early enrollee, getting more snaps the last few weeks.
Yeah, and that's a really good play by him because Tuten may score if he doesn't make that tackle. Only about 220 pounds, but he's got good instincts. He's played some because of injuries, and he's been active.
He has packed on pounds since arriving. Final few seconds on a reverse. Xavion Turner-Bradshaw breaks free. And a stiff arm before he is finally wrapped up after a lengthy journey to get 3 yards. Hokies in the red zone when 8th play of the drive as we start the second quarter. Taylor Tannenbaum, Tim Hasselbeck, Mike Monaco, our entire crew with you in Blacksburg. Quick throw, and it's a screen to the right side, and Tuten Lumbers inside the 5 before he got tripped up by Donovan McMillan, and it's a first down.
Yeah, perfect call versus the blitz. Inside blitz, you spit the ball outside of the perimeter. You got a hat for a hat in terms of blockers, and you've got the ball in one of your best ball carriers' hands out on the perimeter. Good call on 3rd and long.
And with the second pass of this drive. Right in motion. Tuten is stacked up into a sea of Panthers for no gain.
One of the things I think is interesting about Kyron Drones at 234 pounds is some of the stuff that you would see Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, like the bigger physical quarterbacks. They're also good goal line runners because of their power. Drones, same thing.
3 tight ends, and here is Drones with power, and he gets stopped short of the goal line. Picks up 2 before Lovelace makes the tackle.
Yeah, and I think that the first down run was basically the first portion of that run. That second down, they come back to the keep, and to be honest with you, I want to be afraid to do something similar just the other way.
Gosnell and St. Germain, the 3 tight ends, flanking Kyron Drones ahead of 3rd down and goal from the 2. They want Lofton in motion. Drones keeps. Drones fakes and scores. Touchdown, Tech.
It's a great call by Tyler Bowen, offensive coordinator. They get into some run action and they end up moving Drones to the left. They also have an outlet for him with the tight end sneaking into the flat. That pulls a defender, and it's a walk-in score for Kyron Drones, who's off to a really good night.
You seem to like the way Tyler Bowen is calling this game.
I do, because I think this offense has changed some with Kyron Drones taking over as the quarterback, where I think the types of runs you call are different, the types of passes you call are different, and I think he's adjusted nicely.
A flag ahead of the point after attempt from John Love. We check in with Tim Hedgepeth.
Offside with contact. Defense number 57. The penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal. It's still the try down.
Hokies have talked about how it was more of a reboot offensively going from Grant Wells to Kyron Drones than maybe they thought, and they've had to adjust to it offensively.
Yeah, and that was what Brent Pry said. He basically said, look, maybe I underestimated the difference that the offense, in the offense going from Grant Wells to Kyron Drones, because Grant Wells, they felt like was a good runner and they could move him and he did a good job running the football. But I do think there is a different element with Drones.
He showed it on the lengthy drive for Virginia Tech. Kyron Drones, the architect for the Hokies at home. They've got the
cool environment. They've honored some veterans tonight, and the response by this crowd is pretty outstanding every time.
No chance for Kenny Johnson here. A special scene here in Blacksburg. So after an 11-play drive that followed the 11-yard punt, meanwhile, from Caleb Junko, Pitt trails by 7. They take over early second quarter.
And I think there have been some things for Pitt in the passing game down the field. The question ends up being, can you hold up enough in pass protection to give Jurkovec enough time to find the guys that are open down the field?
Virginia Tech has run 26 plays. Pitt's only run 11. Phil Jurkovec, you see 2 of 5. The deep shot to Bub Means back in the first quarter. Rodney Hammond spins forward, picks up about 3 yards. Keyshawn Burgos with that great motor in on the stop.
And I think so far, Virginia Tech, Mike, has done a pretty good job against the run. And then you heard Pat Narduzzi, when he was talking to Taylor, talk about how committed to the run they have been, which is part of the reason why guys are running free in the secondary. But we do know that Pitt does want to run the football and will be patient with it.
3 tight end set, and it's play action. Malcolm Epps sees that one go near his feet on what should have been easy access quick hitter.
Easy access quick hitter. Epps is wide open. You hit him on the move, and Jurkovec, as soon as it left his hand, he knew it just came out poorly, and that's certainly one he wants back.
He's 1 of 5 since the 75-yard touchdown connecting with Bub Means. Remember, he was a question mark this week with the lower body injury, and you see the sleeve on the right leg. 3rd down. Play clock winding down, and Jurkovec didn't get it off in time.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
You said it, in this atmosphere.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Anytime you've got a good crowd, a knowledgeable crowd, understands 3rd down, and that happens, it just encourages them. And, you know, we talked a little bit about Terrence Moore making his first start at center. Sometimes it's the quarterback calling for the football, the center not aware of it yet.
So now 3rd down and a dozen. 3-man rush. Jurkovec steps up, scans, sideline ball, and was it inbounds on the catch attempt? No, it's incomplete for Bub Means.
He called it, Mike, just a 3-man rush, which gave Jurkovec time. And then I thought he looked pretty good escaping outside the pocket. Pretty good coverage, though. That ball is just a little bit outsized. This Means is trying to work the sideline. Good pursuit to the football. Virginia Tech able to get off the field.
Again, targeting Means, but unable to connect on the last few. All right, keep an eye on Caleb Junko. Former walk-on, got a scholarship in camp in August. This one much better. Spirals to the 24 at Tucker Holloway. A flag is thrown, and there's nothing there on the return for Holloway after a punt of 53 from Junko. We'll check the marker. Tim Hedgepeth sorting this out. Everyone trying to get organized, apparently.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 26. 10-yard penalty is enforced at the end of the kick. 1st down. Virginia Tech.
Hokies have the lead and the momentum.
Steps up, fires a deep ball, down the field, over the shoulder, it's caught by Felton.
One-on-one coverage left side, Jurkovec, play action, looking deep, throwing to Means, and Means got it at the 30. 75-yard touchdown, Phil Jurkovec to Bub Means.
Bill and Jeff, 2 of the greats, and shout out to Mike Burnett for Virginia Tech Radio, his 500th consecutive Hokie football broadcast here in this game tonight. A couple of big plays through the air in this one. We are early 2nd quarter. Hokies back with it, and Kyron Drones escapes Dayon Hayes, and he's got a 1st down before he's tackled by Donovan McMillan.
There's that added element. You know, he just decides to keep the ball on a zone read, and then it's the finish of the run that I think is impressive. You see his speed, and then not afraid to finish the run, which picks up the 1st down.
So he's run it a half dozen times. Touchdown through the air and 1 on the ground. 20 rushes against 7 passes for Tyler Bowen and Virginia Tech. Tuten left side trying to stretch this to the edge. And a good tackle diving low from Marquez Williams. Just 2 yards.
And I'm impressed with Tuten's speed to the corner. Williams does a good job of cutting him off, but Tuten at 5'11", 205 did a pretty good job of turning the corner.
We'll check on Marquez Williams when we come back to Blacksburg. It appears to be a good sign for Marquez Williams, 6th-year senior quarterback and 4th-year starter. Might have taken some friendly fire, trying to slow down Bhayshul Tuten, who, as promised, has been very involved, 11 touches.
Which I think is kind of the pace and the amount of activity that they were looking for Tuten.
As a grab through the air as well, gets another pitch to the edge. McMillan steps up from safety to make the stop. It is very close to the line to gain.
And Mike, another perimeter run, and I think it's his power out on the perimeter that I think is encouraging for Virginia Tech in terms of how they're running the football. Get to the perimeter, get away from some of the big bodies inside, and let Tuten, who's hard to get to the ground, who runs with power, let him punish some defensive backs with how he finishes his runs.
Brent Pry said this would be a trenches type of game. Hokies 3 of 6 you saw on 3rd down. Drones gets free from Hayes and picks up a 1st down. Dayon Hayes had him in the backfield, but Kyron Drones moves the sticks.
And that's the element, because Dayon Hayes, who has some suddenness to him, he's going to win right away. He's going to get inside right away. When he gets inside, he's there. It should be a 3-yard loss. But it's the strength and quickness of Kyron Drones to throw Hayes, a defensive lineman, off of him and then go pick up the 1st down.
And now Drones to the air. Down the seam into coverage and incomplete. Intended for Jalen Lane with Javon McIntyre, the safety of coverage.
And Drones gets away with one here because you're right, McIntyre is dropping back into the middle of the field. So he's trying to throw Lane in the middle of the field, but he doesn't see this backside defender working towards Lane. And he's fortunate as that ball goes off of the hands of McIntyre that it wasn't picked off.
That's really one of the first real misses or mistakes we've seen from Drones.
And I think that's the inexperience in terms of seeing coverage down the field.
Drones fake the pitch, and even there finds 3 yards. There is a flag back in the backfield.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's on Parker Clements at right tackle for a Hokies offensive line, by the way, that's without Braylon Moore, the normal left guard. So more snaps for Brody Meadows. So Hokies offense only averaging 3.2 yards per carry coming into tonight, but ran it for a season high 184 yards last week against Marshall, and we've seen that here in the 1st half.
And penalties will kill you because now you got 2nd and really long. So important to stay on schedule.
Drones does check it down to Lane. Stumbles past the 40. MJ Devonshire tripped him up.
That's a really nice job of Drones of just continuing to push the perimeter, being a threat as a runner before he spits it out to Lane. That was somewhat manageable 3rd down.
First catch for Jalen Lane, the Middle Tennessee State transfer. Hokies tighten the formation. Go from 2nd and 20 to 3rd and 9. 3-man rush, and Drones under pressure anyway. Floats it to the sideline, incomplete.
Just a 4-man rush by Pitt, but you can see they got guys, everyone kind of walked up in there. They bring 4, they have a twist, and that twist with Nate Temple gets into the backfield, and Drones has to throw it away. And that's why the penalties are a killer, because even though you've got a big play on 2nd down, you find yourself in a 3rd long, which is where that Pitt defense thrives. They're able to get off the field.
Peter Moore standing at his 27. Shane Biles has blocked a couple in each of the last 2 games. This one goes out of bounds around the 30. Hey, the NFL London games kick off Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on ESPN+. Falcons, Jaguars from Wembley, and also, if you haven't heard by now, a special Fun Day football broadcast for World of Pixar's Toy Story. Players becoming characters competing in real time. To get ESPN+, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app.
Hey, what's more fun than just waking up, instead of turning on cartoons, just go ahead and turn on NFL football. Outstanding. You know, the Falcons actually off to a really good start. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars had some bright moments so far this year. Can't beat it. You get football past midnight and then football early in the morning.
Let's get animated. There's Sibo Flemister on the ground. We go down to Taylor for an injury update.
Yeah, guys, during that drive just now, Bub Means was in the 10th year on the Pitt sideline, who caught that first touchdown earlier in the game. He came out, looked like he was wincing a little bit. They have since taken him back into a room underneath the stadium for more evaluation, guys.
So a guy they've been waiting on, and you saw the lack of production the first 4 games, and then on one connection in the first quarter, announced himself loudly here in Blacksburg. Second down and 4, and Jurkovec keeps it, shook free and got to the edge, totally deking Cole Nelson to pick up a first down and get out to midfield.
And it's almost like Jurkovec was surprised that there was nobody there. You know, he pulls the ball and then he kind of just hesitates, like, wait a second, you don't see that I have it? Maybe the expectation with him coming into the game banged up that he would not keep the ball, come out the back end on some of these zone reads, but good call, good decision, and nice pickup.
Pat Narduzzi told us Jurkovec was not able to run much this week in practice. The work he did do in practice was throwing. Sibo Flemister got away from Nelson, and he bangs forward with a gain of 8. Takes it inside the 45 before Braylon Johnson made the tackle.
And Flemister is slow to see this cut. You know, put your foot in the ground and get down the field. Just look at this. He's going to stretch this. Go ahead and put your foot in the ground and let those big guys who are just washing everybody down just take the defenders where they want to go. They honestly block it so well that even on the late read, ends up picking up 9 yards.
Yeah, call it 9, and now Pitt's first play in Virginia Tech territory. 23 minutes into this game. A play fake. Jurkovec steps up, launches a deep ball toward the end zone, and broke it up. Intended for Jake McConaughey, and what a retreat from Dorian Strong.
And McConaughey in there just running the deep post, kind of like we saw Means run earlier in the game. And Dorian Strong does a nice job of running with them. Looks back, locates the football, doesn't panic, doesn't grab. He's able to go up and knock that football away. It's just barely underthrown by Jurkovec. Dorian Strong, who's played a lot of football, has got a lot of talent. Does a good job of seeing it. And there's Taquan Underwood saying, hey, look, put your foot in the ground, go back up, try to get that football at its highest point.
And now 3rd down and 1, Flemister for a first down. Takes it just shy of the 40.
But I like the call on 2nd and short. Take the shot, 3rd down. Running the football fairly well at this point. Get Flemister, get the first down, and get a new set here in Virginia Tech's end.
First time the Panthers have converted on a 3rd down in this first half. Sets him up with 1st and 10 from the 40 in plus territory. Flemister left side. Not much there. Dorian Strong, who's back from that broken hand last year. He hasn't been targeted much this year because he's been really sturdy in the secondary.
And I think he's been their most talented corner for a while. And you mentioned the hand injury. You know, it hasn't always manifested itself in terms of, you know, making the best plays, but he is a good player. He does have good speed, and that's 2 plays in a row on this drive.
Second down and 7. Flemister. Couple cuts. And it brings up 3rd down and 3. Caleb Woodson, the freshman who plays the star for the Hokies, makes the tackle.
You know, we talked earlier about, hey, is it 4-down territory when you're at midfield? Obviously, Pitt was just trying to get them off sides. I think in this scenario right here, this is 4-down territory. Would not surprise me get a run here, try to pop it. If not, see what options you have on 4th down.
Day Reynolds has come into the game, top of your screen, but on 3rd down, a play fake, and Jurkovec under pressure throws incomplete.
I think this maybe was a called run, Mike, that because of the way Virginia Tech timed up their blitz, they got early penetration. See this? See that early penetration? I think this was a handoff. Maybe they're trying to sneak Gavin Bartholomew out through the flat there, but it was kind of so disjointed because of the early penetration that Jurkovec ends up having to dirt the football.
So they will try from 51, and that's the career long for the redshirt junior Ben Sauls toward the left upright, and no good. So not 4-down territory, and Sauls just pushes it wide, and the lead remains at 7 for the Hokies in the first half at home.
I don't think you have an option to pick anyone other than the Hokies when you're sitting with a guy that has that hat on.
On 1st down, Kyron Drones on a slant intended for Jalen Lane, and we've got a flag that flies with Javon McIntyre in coverage. He doesn't like the call.
Pass interference. Defense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
McIntyre a little early on that one before the ball arrives. It's so hard, you know, you're playing off coverage, you got an inside slant, and you're just trying to time it up and just a beat before the football arrives.
The Hokies are trying to add on before halftime. 4.5 to go in the 2nd quarter. Malachi Thomas with nowhere to go. Nate Temple, 5th-year senior defensive end, the first one to him for a loss of 1.
He's made a few plays, been in the backfield, and we're seeing a decent amount of Malachi Thomas tonight. I think probably in an effort to keep Bhayshul Tuten fresh for the 2nd half.
Tuten with a dozen carries for 61 yards. Thomas has got it 3 times. 2nd down and 11. Drones fakes out Lovelace, but not Bam Brema. He's got him for a sack. And now a late flag flies. Looks to be on the Panthers and costly.
Yeah, it's just a finish late. I mean, they stop him, the whistle blows, forward progress has been stopped, and there's just no need to dump him to the ground.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 6. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
See, it actually ends up being a bad decision by Drones. He's got to get rid of the football there. You hear the whistle, and it's just that finish, and
I don't know.
I think this, though, Mike, because it's forward progress is stopped. You got 3 defenders on 1 player. Like, is it an egregious, like, hey, pick him up and slam him to the ground? No. You got 3 defenders. You're driving him back. You hear the whistle. I think taking him to the ground is really what, you know, incites the flag.
Pat Narduzzi predictably did not like it, and now Drones is under duress and toward the sideline and just got it there out of the reach of P.J. O'Brien.
And that should be grounding, because I don't believe that he's out of the pocket. There was not a receiver in the area. I think he's in the tackle box.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 1. The penalty is a loss of down at the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
Well, they didn't throw a flag, but they talked about it and decided that it was intentional grounding. But here's Drones under pressure. They get in there early. It's Lovelace. He's got to get rid of the football clearly in the tackle box. And there just isn't a receiver in the neighborhood. In fact, when he let it go, I thought there was a chance the ball, if he didn't get it out of bounds, was going to get intercepted.
Yeah, that was close with O'Brien bearing down. On 2nd and 20, there's running room for Drones, and he gets back nearly all of it. Run out by Javon McIntyre.
There's that element again. You got a good defensive call. You kind of got him bottled up, but Drones' threat as a runner still really good.
I mean, you talked about playmakers coming in. It's him, it's Tuten, it's Lane and Felton to a lesser extent, but it's really Drones and Tuten.
Yeah, you know, listen, you can X and O's to death, but who are your good players? How do you get them the football? It's 133, 83 for Virginia Tech.
First down for Drones. Dayon Hayes, the tackle after a gain of 4, and we said, how many carries today for Kyron Drones? He's in double figures already. And now Tyler Bentley, 6th-year senior defensive tackle, is down in pain. So they tend to Tyler Bentley with 2:39 to go here in the second quarter. I mean, so we talk about getting your playmakers the ball. You said it last week. It was really 50, high usage plays between pass and run for Kyron Drones. How do you think they've managed it and called it today to optimize what you get out of him and how you keep him fresh?
I think at this stage of the game, I think they've probably run him more than they would have wanted to. But I also think that he's the... Look, I think in terms of playmakers, Bhayshul Tuten, they clearly want more touches for him. They wanted the opportunities for Felton. Jalen Lane, they want to get the football. But the guy that is, stirs the drink is Kyron Drones. 35 attempts through the air and 15 rushes last week. That's 50 times where he's having a big impact on the football game. And so far this half, while the stats aren't crazy, he's made really good decisions and made big plays.
A dozen first downs for the Hokies in this first half. Tuten tried to wiggle free from Lovelace. He gets a yard to the 35 as we tick toward 2 to go until halftime. Brent Pryce said to us, we've got to have a more narrow focus, though, with the touches and the plays and the passes for Drones. Give him less on his plate that he has to think through and manage over the course of a game.
Yeah, they're called call and run it plays.
Play fake, simple throw to the sideline, and a diving bid and a catch by Quan Felton. Short of the stick, but inside the 30.
And I think when you run some call and run it plays, even if it's in the passing game, where it's simple concepts that he's familiar with, that he's repped enough, as you see, Felton does a good job securing that football with a foot in bounds. But I think doing that, taking some of the just decision after decision off of the plate of Kyron Drones to just let the athleticism shine through.
Which he has done very often in spots like these on 3rd down. He hands it off, and Tuten is swarmed from the backside by Solomon DeShields. A yard, and that's it. So it's 4th and 1 for the Hokies inside of 90 seconds in the half.
And I think Brent Pryce is going to let this wind down, take a timeout, try to make a decision of what he wants to do in terms of field goal or going for it. And I would say basically what we saw earlier with what you could do with that quarterback sneak with DeQuan right behind Kyron Drones, that would be something that I'm certainly thinking about as I take this timeout if I'm Brent Pryce.
I mean, Drones is just bubbling with excitement, ready to go. You know what he wants to do ahead of this 4th down. While we have a moment, let's check in with Kelsey down at field level.
Well, in just a moment, we'll see you for the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report. I'm alongside Eddie Royal right now, but the rest of the crew will be with me as well. And a good start for the Hokies. What do you want to see from them in the second half?
Keep doing what you're doing. This offensive game plan has been great from Tyler Bowen. Keep doing more of the same.
Mike and Jim, we'll see you in just about a minute. A little bit more of that, and of course, an update on Notre Dame Duke.
Yeah, big one going on in Durham. Game day was there, of course, at a great scene not too far away here in Blacksburg.
Great scene and a big play coming up right here for the Hokies and Pitt. 4th and 2. You know, I'm not positive that the quarterback sneak with the push, you know, I'm not positive that that's out of the realm of possibilities based on what we saw happen the last time Virginia Tech ran it.
So they will go for it. They have rushed it 30 times in this first half. They've only had 5 negative runs. Try to get 2 yards with 52 seconds to go until halftime. And a timeout remaining for the Hokies, but it's Pitt who uses one here. Had all 3 of them and kind of look at how Virginia Tech lined up.
Yeah, which I think is important because Kyron Drones not under center. And so now maybe the defensive call you had, maybe you want to rethink it. Maybe Brent Pry and Tyler Bowen, maybe they rethink what was their next best 4th and 2 call.
The chess match.
I mean, got a lot of mouth covering going on right now between head coaches. A bit of a lip reader. And then maybe there's, I mean, look at Brent Pry, like he's going with the double hand.
It's like
coverage.
A mound visit in October.
Really, all this means right now is football coaches are paranoid. Like that's
Yes.
the big takeaway is everyone's scared to death that someone's trying to steal something from it.
Well, now the Hokies come out in a pistol. Last time it was 4th down and Virginia Tech went for it. It was Drones with a 3-yard rush. This time he spins, rolls out, throws toward the sideline, complete to Stephen Gosnell. Takes it to the 12 with 44 seconds to go until halftime.
It's a gutsy call and it's a great read. It's a little roll pass. They're trying to get Tuten in the flat. He's not open. Come off of it and get to number 2. And it's Gosnell. Good call, well executed by the Virginia Tech offense.
Senior wideout who Tyler Bowen says has been a sleeper for us. Drones rolls left, hit as he throws, and out the back of the end zone. Dayon Hayes brought pressure. Gosnell the intended target.
It's a good decision on the throwaway, and I think it's good management. Because of the first down, the clock's going to stop temporarily. They get up and run a play quickly. And then, you know, by throwing the football away, obviously it's preserving that last timeout, which you want to keep in the event you have to settle for a field goal.
Remember, Pitt did not go for it on its last drive on 4th down, tried it with Ben Sauls on a 51-yard field goal try. Hokies went for it and converted. Now on 2nd down, they set up a screen. Tuten jukes and he's in for a touchdown.
It's a great call by Tyler Bowen. That is a great call in that situation. Going hurry up. It's a good call kind of versus all. If you get blitz, screen's good versus blitz. They get some softer coverage. The offensive line does a nice job out in space. You see them get to the perimeter. It's Bob Schick who does a good job. And then Tuten with good fancy footwork on the sideline. And a little bit surprised he doesn't draw the flag for the spike, which not typically allowed, and Tyler Bowen should clap because that was really well done.
We chatted with him yesterday, and we talked about, in particular, a 4th down call he made last week against Marshall, and he kind of lamented the call. He said if he could do it differently and go back and change things, he would. Well, this time he goes with a rather aggressive call, the rollout pass to convert on 4th down, and then a beauty of a call on the screen.
Yeah, and that will happen, you know, to all play callers. And, you know, Brent Pry's upset here because it's not just offsides, it's some of the Pitt defenders teeing off.
Offside with contact. Defense number 0. The penalty is declined. It's still the try down.
You know, not all offsides are created equal. I think Brent Pry not thrilled with with how some of his guys are getting hit when they're stationary. But, you know, to Tyler Bowen, the point on Tyler Bowen, like sometimes you're going to have a bad call. And, you know, you need your players to make good decisions to kind of bail you out. And sometimes you make good calls and you don't need them to bail you out.
John Love good on the extra point. Bhayshul Tuten, 12 yards on the screen.
And it's just a great job. It's a 4-man rush. They're going to get a little bit of backfield action, and it's going to be a cross screen where Tuten's going to come across the formation. And because of that, he gets lost a little bit. They pin down linebacker levels. Bob Schick gets down into the second level, and it's really a good job. Brody Meadows, everybody down the field just continuing to work, and then it's Bhayshul Tuten, who has run with power, doing a good job of being elusive as he finds his way into the end zone.
Caden Moore, the center, was down there as well, coming off what the staff told us was his best game of the season, the redshirt junior captain. So 21-7. Hokies ahead of halftime with 21 ticks to go in the second. After an 11-play, 67-yard drive that chewed up more than 4 minutes and had the 4th down conversion. Che Wabuko is back there, also with Kenny Johnson. And a touchback from Kyle Lowe. We go down to Taylor Tannenbaum.
Yeah, Bhayshul Tuten having a night. We asked Brent Pry, what did you watch from him when you were looking at him in the portal? He gave an example. You know when you're recruiting in high school and you're watching like a really good player playing in Class 1A and he's just dominating the competition? Well, that was Bhayshul at NC-A&T, ahead and step above everyone else in FCS. And my favorite quote from talking to Brent Pry, he came out of the womb to be a running back based on build. And he's putting in that work tonight, guys.
Yeah, he's got that look. He's got that power. And then you said it earlier in this first half. He's got speed to the edge, too.
He does, and he breaks tackles. That's exactly what you want your running back to do.
So 2 timeouts, 21 seconds. Pitt on the ground with Sibo Flemister. He's run out of bounds to stop the clock with 15 seconds to go. And Pitt was in a similar spot like this ahead of halftime last week against North Carolina.
Yeah, and they got caught in no man's land where, you know, they were kind of in between. Are we running a 2-minute offense? Are we trying to take the half? And truthfully, that's when they decided to run Phil Jurkovec. He gets injured. So I think just having a clear plan, they keep the ball on the ground first down. I would expect them to do the same thing here on second down.
Jurkovec, of course, if you're just joining us, missed the second half of that game against the Tar Heels, but has been in there here tonight. So he's throwing on second down, and he finds Kanate Mumfield in the plus territory. Couple of timeouts for the Panthers with 7 seconds to go.
Yeah, and they use one now, and they should, so clearly they're going for it. Not, you know, it's interesting, a week ago, they throw the ball on first down, but they're just trying to take the half. You know, they run the ball on first down, they get 8 yards, and I guess that means, hey, we're going. So now, you know, with 7 seconds left on the 46-yard line, you don't have, 8 seconds left, you don't have a ton of options here. I think yes, you have timeout. So really in these situations, it's if you throw something into the middle of the field, which you can do because you have a timeout, you need to just go ahead and go down. You go down, and then obviously you use your timeout. So it's basically one of these surrender situations if you're a receiver that catches the football in the middle of the field, to give yourself a chance to kick a field goal.
See what Jurkovec has done since that quick strike to Bub Means for 75 yards.
That's part of the reason I didn't think they would try to go get points here at the end of the half. It just obviously had the huge play to start the football game, but it's been a struggle.
Remember, the Hokies will have it to start the third quarter. Sauls has missed from 51 already in this half. Jurkovec toward the sideline and incomplete with 5 seconds to go.
You know, he has Reynolds to the sideline, and it just kind of gives up on him. He's running out. Reynolds, number 3, is running it out at the top of the screen. He's got off coverage. You just put that to the boundary at the 30-yard line. I think a couple people over there knew it.
And that's really where you're trying to get to give Ben Sauls a chance where you feel comfortable with it.
It's exactly where you're trying to get. And, you know, now you may not have enough time. And now that you call your timeout.
Charge timeout. Pitt, their third and final of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
So they take the timeout here with 5 seconds to go. Hey, tomorrow afternoon, women's sports are taking over here on ACC Network. We start with soccer at noon. Number 17 Duke against Virginia. Then we flip to volleyball starting at 2 o'clock Eastern time with Florida State and Duke. And then it's followed by number 5 Louisville against NC State. Cards with 6 straight wins on the court against the Pack. So why use the timeout in that spot?
Maybe they had a call where they're trying to throw the ball down the field and thought better of it and said, look, let's just hand this football off and not get our quarterback hit one more time. I would be surprised with 5 seconds left and now no timeouts. I guess you could try to throw a quick out to the top, but I'm probably handing this football off.
We still have not seen Bud Means come back since Taylor's report as he went off toward the tunnel. Panthers do throw it. Jurkovec escapes toward the sideline and he heaves for the end zone and incomplete. Broken up by Dorian Strong to close out the first half.
Be in line with what Brent Pry really wanted this offense to do.
In front of a sold-out crowd and this white effect game for Virginia Tech. Let's go down to Taylor.
Caught up with head coach Brent Pry heading off the field, and he said so far they're playing winning football. Kyron Drones making good decisions, and they've committed to the run, something they talked about wanting to do. Mike and Tim, you can attest to this. On the flip side of things, a change in tune from coach. He said they're fitting well, something they struggled with all of September. As for Pitt head coach Pat Narduzzi, short and simple. We have to stop the run, make plays, and score points, guys.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of that in the first half. I mean, we talk about how good a half it was for the Hokies. For Pitt, a team on a 3-game losing streak, down by 14 here on the road. It's more Tuten to start. He gets another carry. What's got to change for the Panthers?
They got to complete passes. Hey, look, Phil Jurkovec comes into the game completing about 50% of his passes. Like, that's just not good enough in today's college football. And you know, just 3 completions in the first half. It's hard to win football games that way.
Tuten is blasted by Solomon DeShields, redshirt junior, first year in a starting job, in on the tackle to bring up 3rd down.
You know, and part of it will be, look, it's kind of been a lopsided performance in general all season where the Pitt defense has been very good and the Pitt offense has not. And so, look, it's just a charge to the defense. Like, how much better can you be? Can you create a turnover? Can you do something like a tackle for loss like we just saw on 2nd down, or create a longer 3rd down situation and get off the field? Can you do that consistently to give that struggling offense more chances?
Tuten had to take himself out. We'll keep an eye on that. So Malachi Thomas comes in and a flag flies pre-snap.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Xavier Chaplin, the 6'6" redshirt freshman left tackle from South Carolina.
Left side, you're going to get a little flinch by Chapman. That little kind of hiccup before he kicked back, and the officials catch it. Look, this is not the start Virginia Tech is looking for in terms of how this drive has gone. You know, Tuten's got to take himself off the field, and then you have a false start.
So TFL, the penalty. 3rd down and 13, and Thomas on the swing pass turns upfield and gets wrapped up right near the 30. PJ O'Brien on the tackle after a gain of 7, and not what the Hokies wanted out of halftime.
No, and the flip side of that, I'm sure the charge at halftime for Pitt was, look, we're starting out on defense. Let's come up with a stop. They get that 3 and out, and you know, look, whether it's a big play that could come from Devonshire in the return game, or just giving your offense a chance to quickly get back on the field.
In the first 2 minutes out of halftime, Peter Moore ready to boot it deep. MJ Devonshire back deep.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Only at 10 on the field.
Only 10 on the field. They were considering running another player onto the field. You see, you count them up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you get 10 guys on the field. So no good.
I thought you were going to use the feature on the telestrator where you can count every single one.
I was.
We did groupings of 3.
But I did, but I didn't think Frat was going to trust me to clear it fast enough.
Here's director Bob Frattaroli. Alex Martino steering the ship. Devonshire off the carom. Gets run down right near the 20. So, in the end, Pitt will start things on their first possession in the 3rd. Back at their 20 after a tough first half for Phil Jurkovec.
It really was. It got off to a blazing hot start, and then it was kind of a mess after that because nearly had one picked off, was under pressure, so he underthrew another opportunity deep, had a dirt one, then dirt's one that's wide open that he obviously was frustrated about. And you only complete 3 passes and a half on 12 attempts. It just can feel like you're playing uphill as a quarterback.
Rodney Hammond back in there to start this drive, and there is nowhere to go. He gets met immediately for no gain with Kelly Lawson in on the tackle.
And talked about the run fits. That was the concern coming into this game, and Kelly Lawson's done a nice job. Alan Tisdale's done a nice job, and I think it was really that second level of Lawson, Tisdale, Keontae Jenkins, how they fit. And then similar thing, secondary players with Jalen Stroman. They've done a nice job tonight.
5 rushes for Pitt of 1 yard or less. On 2nd down, a sack. Mario Kendricks gets to Jurkovec. Ball might have popped out at the end.
There's Kendricks. Man, he just wins quickly. Just a quick inside move with a swim. Ball they are saying that it came out and that Virginia Tech came up with it. What a move in terms of getting the quarterback quickly by Mario Kendricks.
Initial signal was still Pitt ball, and then they flip it and give it to the Hokies. Might have been Antoine Powell-Ryland who got in there as well, converging with Kendricks, who might have punched it out of the arm from Phil Jurkovec.
And I think this ball is coming loose. He has it back there. If we can see it from the other angle at all, the ball clearly is out. The question is that knee down before the ball is coming loose? From that angle, it's hard to see. But the ruling on the field was that the ball was out. Pitt's defense has now come out onto the field. You see, that ball looks like it's tucked away, and see it gets batted right at the end there. Powell-Ryland. And that ball, I think, is loose, Mike, before the knee is down.
Yep, I agree with you.
Jurkovec's got it, but it's that punch right there before the knee hits the ground. The right knee hits the ground.
The ruling on the field of a fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Sure looks like the Hokies do have a takeaway. They'll look at it. We'll check on it when we come back to Blacksburg. Ryland and Mario Kendricks were both in there. Forced the fumble. They looked at it. It stands as a Virginia Tech recovery.
Yeah, trying to figure out who had the recovery. They give it to Powell-Ryland because that's how they ruled it on the field, and that's why it stands.
Sudden change on the first sack for the Hokies, and now Tuten squirts forward for 5 yards. Takes it down to the 5, and Virginia Tech with a chance to go up by 3 scores.
Yeah, and they're obviously benefiting from great field position here. And Tuten, who's just done a great job, I feel like, of falling forward on nearly every run tonight.
Tyler Bowen, his offensive coordinator, said to us his biggest quality, he just doesn't get tackled, he gets corralled. Averaging better than 4 a pop. This time it's Malachi Thomas. Drones keeps and dropped. Nick Lappy, former walk-on who earned a scholarship in August. Pat Narduzzi called it an easy decision. Is in there for a loss of 5, and it brings up 3rd down.
And I think that one would have been better off being handed off. Just goes back to some of those conversations we were having about decisions on the quarterback, both in the run game and the passing game, and especially in the run game, they happen so quickly.
Empty set in the gun for Drones. Quarterback draw, and Drones spinning to the goal line for a touchdown. He would not go down. There's a late penalty flag down in the end zone.
It was a touchdown after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 1, his first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
They got Drones with the spike, but I said it earlier about Cam Newton near the goal line. You empty out the backfield, spread the defense out, and you run a quarterback draw, and then it's Kyron Drones' power that gets him into the end zone.
He just would not go down. Kyron Drones has had himself a heck of a ball game at his 3rd career start, taking over for the injured Brad Wells.
And they just, you're going to see what happens. They get into an empty formation, and when that happens, everybody walks out. So you look inside, you've got 4 defensive linemen, but you have no linebackers there. But you got 5 offensive linemen on 4 blockers with a runner who's physical and tough, and Hayes tries to retrace his steps, gets a handful of jersey, but that's not enough for the 234-pound Kyron Drones, who is a tough runner with that ball in his hands.
He's responsible for all 4 touchdowns for the Hokies, who have built a 28-7 lead early on in the 3rd quarter.
I thought watching him play against Marshall and how many times they threw the football, how many times he carried it, to me, that was like an acknowledgement of, like, we're going to go as you go. Like, we love your competitiveness. We love your physicality. We believe that you can handle the passing game. And I really felt like it would be a continuation of that to build on it. And I think that's how they've called this game tonight. And by the way, Pitt has had a very good defense all season long. It's not easy to move the ball against them.
Yeah, group, we told you, 12th in the country in total defense, yards allowed per game. Pat Narduzzi gets irate if anyone rushes for 100 yards against them. Well, Drones 47 yards himself on the ground, couple of scores, couple more through the air. Kenny Johnson bursts up the left side, and he gets banged out of bounds near the 35. Let's check out our New York Live drive recap.
Well, complimentary football makes every coach happy. And Mario Kendricks with the sack, Antoine Powell-Ryland with the recovery, which leads to Kyron Drones muscling his way for 6.
Drones and the Hokies up by 21 in their ACC opener. Pitt, meanwhile, back with it. Phil Jurkovec 3 for 12, 117 yards, and then lost the fumble we just showed you on that last possession. Pressure off the edge, and they set up a screen to Sibo Flemister with blockers out in front, and a burst for Flemister. Inside the 20, and Flemister all the way for a touchdown. 61 yards.
Pitt clearly doesn't want to have sustained drives. They want quick strike drives. They call a screen to the offense's left, and it's perfectly timed because it's right into a corner blitz. And because of that, it's exactly what you're looking for. You're going to see the pressure come off the left side. They throw the screen right into it. You just need to get a couple blocks, and obviously you have a missed tackle. And then Flemister with a good dead leg, and Pitt with a good quick response.
Ben Saul's the extra point. So, quick strikes indeed. Bump means 75 yards. Sibo Flemister, 61. He got a push from behind from Antoine Powell-Ryland. And Sibo Flemister was gone. Back down to a 2-score game. Second half action. Morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on ESPN+. It's the Falcons and the Jaguars from Wembley Stadium, and also Fun Day Football, a broadcast via Toy Story. Players are characters. They compete in real time in Andy's bedroom. To get ESPN+, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app.
It piqued my curiosity with that, Mike. Are you? I mean, I feel like you're tuning into that.
You calling me young?
Toy Story? You are? Yes. I mean, younger than me. I think, who's Trevor Lawrence? Woody? Is that who?
Yeah. Probably. I want to see Bijan Robinson animated, because that dude is electric in any form.
He's off to a great start to his rookie year.
Sure is. And sure looks like going to be a momentous occasion for DeMar Hamlin as well tomorrow.
That's a great point. It's a 1 o'clock game. The Dolphins, Bills, probably most anticipated matchups of the week, and looks like DeMar Hamlin will start that football game. And you know, what a remarkable recovery he's had. Obviously was a great player for Pitt, and I'm sure many of the people tuning in tonight will be excited to see him play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's special stuff, no doubt. All right, so the Hokies lead now at 14, 5 minutes into the third out of halftime. Malachi Thomas, lead blocking for Kyron Drones with nothing there. Shane Simon and Dayon Hayes the tackle. Again, a commitment to the run is what Virginia Tech promised. They felt like they had lulls in the second quarter and in the third quarter last week against Marshall, and trying to avoid those going forward, because there was good stuff at the beginning and they felt like the end.
Well, and look, the last score obviously was because of the turnover.
Simon pressures and Drones lost the football. Lovelace picks it up and it's a touchdown. Whoa!
Well, that's worse than a lull, Mike. I mean, that is 2 plays in a row, and this thing has flipped, and you're going to start to see the resolve and maturity of how the Virginia Tech team responds to that. And certainly for Pitt, they talked about, hey, as a defense, what can we do? Create more turnovers. That one just kind of slips out of Drones' hand, but they pick it up for the scoop and score, and now we got a ball game.
The freshman Braylon Lovelace is going to hang on to that one. I mean, in a span of 3 plays, the Flemister screen, and then just 2 plays into this drive, it's now 28-20 with a point after pending. That's what Randy Bates said, and Pat Narduzzi echoed it as well. It's got to be turnovers, something they felt like was lacking the first 4 games.
So they obviously get that, and you were mentioning the lulls. Think about how this second half has gone for Virginia Tech offensively. 3 and out to start the half. They benefit from the turnover that their defense gets, which leads to a score. But the very next drive, you have the turnover that goes back the other way. And so as you talk about lulls and how you're going to respond, look, I think that Brent Pry kind of feels like that, like hands on your head. What just happened?
Shane Simon applied the pressure, and Braylon Lovelace was there to scoop it and score, and just like that, 28-21 now. and still a long way to go. A Pitt team that had only created 3 turnovers the first 4 games. Randy Bates said more than anything when we talked with him, it's what we got to do more of. Force them. The Drones miscue pays off for the Panthers here in the 3rd. Dawan Lofton takes it out of the end zone, and he goes hurtling past the 15. Let's check in with Taylor.
Yeah, guys, Braylon Lovelace, just a freshman, but making an immediate impact. Defensive coordinator Randy Bates said he's just playing his brains out. I love him, and he has a unique story. He's from just outside of Pittsburgh. Leechburg is what it's called. He came to a Pitt football camp, stood out. He was twitchy, coach said, but no one was really recruiting him, so Pitt offered. He's come and he's gained 25 pounds since he stepped on campus, and as you see, like I said, making an immediate impact and changing the game here tonight.
We talked with Randy Bates on the field pregame as well, and he was focusing on his young linebackers who he knew they were going to need more of, again like last week with no Bengali Kamara.
And I feel like they've played pretty well tonight in terms of playing with speed and flying to the football.
Bhayshul Tuten on a toss, breaking tackles again. He gets out to the 25, and now he's slow to get up after the first down gain.
And you know, something needs to settle this Virginia Tech offense down a little bit. And you know, Tuten does a good job of finishing this run. Kind of slammed to the ground pretty hard. You see the grass in his helmet, and he was slow to get up and comes off the field.
Picked up 7. Thomas with a running lane, and he spins for a first down. 2 different flags down near the line of scrimmage.
I think we're going to get a face mask as Thomas was coming through the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 92. That 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
It's on Tyler Bentley, the veteran defensive tackle from Ohio.
And he's just trying to fight off a blocker, and sticks that big paw out there, and instead of getting a shoulder pad, kind of gets it stuck in the face mask of Thomas and tries to let go, but at that point it was too late.
Fake the pitch. Drones gets dragged down by Brandon George, 5th-year senior, who rotates in at linebacker. He's played a lot more in the last couple of weeks.
One of the things Pitt has started to do is, you know, we saw some of those outside runs, those little pitches to the outside for Virginia Tech offensively. Randy Bates has just started bringing some pressure to it, to the side of the back, which, you know, ultimately is going to keep the ball in Drones' hand if he's reading it.
They pitch it. Thomas, a first down. Picks up about 7 before Brandon George in on another tackle and past midfield.
And then Virginia Tech, in response to that, you saw mid-cadence flip the back so that you can't organize a pressure to the side of the back.
How about 18 first downs for the Hokies? Play fake, pressure. Drones lofts it, sideline, and drops. On a contested catch, Daquan Felton matched up with NJ Devonshire.
And Devonshire did a nice job. He forces Felton to the sideline. See how he squeezes him to the sideline? That doesn't leave Drones much room to drop the football in over his shoulder. You know, they call it holding the line if you're the receiver. You're running a go route. You don't want to get squeezed to the sideline because there's nowhere for the quarterback to put it.
A.J. Woods is the other corner right now on the perimeter. No sign of Marquez Williams, who got dinged up in the first half. Tuten, a screen. Motors ahead inside the 40. Sets up 3rd down and manageable after a gain of 6.
I think Virginia Tech can do more of that. They've had success with it. Spread them out, get into empty. You have the threat of Drones as a runner, but you also have good ball carriers if you're spitting the football out to Thomas or Tuten on the edge.
Heavy workload for Bhayshul Tuten, the North Carolina A&T transfer. He's feeling it.
And, you know, probably think you could be in 2-down territory here if you're Virginia Tech.
from the 39. They fake the toss, and DeAndre Jules gets home to blow up Kyron Drones and bring up 4th down.
Well, now with a tackle for loss, it's Kyron Drones who's really stepped up. Here he is inside the screen. He's just going to end up getting inside, and by getting inside, the tackle for loss now forces the punt from Virginia Tech. Kind of been a suddenness to his game. I've seen a few defensive linemen tonight, Jules being one of them, play with good quickness to split double teams and get into the backfield.
He's lost a lot of weight coming into this year. Randy Bates said to us, he always tells him, you've lost a medium-sized child. DeAndre Jules said he's got to do more coming into this game. He has. Pitt's got the football.
It's dripping down. It'll be hard to get that stain out. Plus the pepperoni in there. It's good effort, though.
The antithesis of one bite, everyone knows the rules. Worst starting field position for either team in this game. It's Pitt from the 10, just a yard for Sibo Flemister. C.J. McCray, the defensive end, in on the tackle. And so Pitt, as we get later on in this third, down by 7 with the football.
Yeah, and they should feel really encouraged, especially with how the first half went. We only have 3 completions in the first half. You're only down 7 points in a game where Virginia Tech scored 28.
Terrence Moore centering this line. We told you a makeshift unit. First time all year they've started the same group in back-to-back games. Flemister off left tackle, broke a tackle, and then dragged down by Kelly Lawson. 2 yards, 3rd down.
And good hustle by Lawson, because it looked like Flemister was close to going there. And now, listen, if you are Virginia Tech, you just can't give up a big play. 3rd and long. Obviously, you want to get off the field, but you can't give up a big play. It just feels like the momentum swing of this game has changed significantly with that defensive score. But they're getting a little help from this crowd.
Play clock at 5. Winding down. They get it off. 3rd down and 7. Jurkovec dropped inside the 5. Keontae Jenkins got home with a host of teammates, including Cole Nelson.
And it basically was a stunt up front. You know, they work a little game. And so 17's going to end up winding back around here. He's going to come up the field, wind back around. They don't pass it off. And Cole Nelson gets there, and you're right, it's Keontae Jenkins who meets him at the quarterback to get Jurkovec on the ground.
Caleb Junko gets a low punt away from his own end zone. It bounces into plus territory, and Virginia Tech will get it back after the sack with great field position. Hey, for a full day in ACC college football, you want to tune in for the Huddle. Post-game, live, Kelsey and the guys here in Blacksburg, and then next Saturday, Hard Rock Stadium, the site. It starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time for all the highlights, all the news. The Huddle right here on ACC Network. And it sounds like Duke making things interesting with Notre Dame. 4th quarter and a last look. Duke's got a 14-13 lead after hosting game day this morning.
You going to be all right as a Notre Dame alum, Mike?
I'll survive. ACC guy now. Tuten loses a couple. All sorts of Panthers in there in the backfield, and he loses one.
I think Virginia Tech is going to need to find another way to take a shot down the field to Daquan Felton. They tried the previous drive, and Felton just kind of got pushed to the sideline. You got to do it on early downs, because Pitt is being aggressive, essentially saying, look, we're committing guys to stopping the run.
A.J. Woods matched up against him, corner blitz, and Drones got it free to Jalen Lane with running room, taken off for the end zone, and a score! 53 yards.
What a huge play by Kyron Drones. Pitt brings pressure, and because of that pressure, there are voids in the defense. And Kyron Drones, here's what I'm talking about. The corner is going to blitz from the top, which is going to send the safety over top of this receiver, and then you're going to end up having Lane coming inside, and there's no one left in the middle of the field. He's just going to work inside, and because the corner came from the top and the safety played over the top, there was all kinds of room for run after the catch.
You talked about how Randy Bates has countered all the pitches the Hokies have done by bringing pressure off the edges. Well, the Hokies with a counter right there.
And I think part of what you're trying to do when you're trying to come up with a turnover is, hey, look, it's second and long. We think you're going to throw the football. We're going to try to surprise you with a corner blitz that was well disguised. I don't think Drones saw it, but I think what happened is he played on time. And by playing on time, he took a hit, but the ball was out before the corner blitz got there. And then Jalen Lane, who's back from nursing a hamstring, looked just fine on that scamper into the end zone.
Brent Pryce said to us yesterday, we got to figure out early on if Jalen Lane is healthy enough to be the difference maker that we think he can be. Because again, that's a big part of the story for the Hokies as well in the 1-3 start at wide receiver, where all the conversation was focused coming into week 1 with Ali Jennings and Jalen Lane. Haven't had those guys recently.
And you're looking for playmakers. And so yes, it's receivers. And I am probably just double down on this. It's also the quarterback. And that is a great example of, look, it wasn't perfect. You're looking for somebody to make a play. Well, how about if the quarterback just plays on time enough that the ball comes out before the blitz gets there? Doesn't matter you didn't block the blitz because the quarterback beats it, and that helps the receiver, gives him space down the field.
And Jalen Lane was digging. And Kyron Drones on the sideline with his head coach. You know, Brent Pryce told us a story yesterday that after the game, after the loss to Marshall by 1 score, he went up to Kyron Drones and just wanted to give him a hug. Well, instead, Kyron Drones said to him, first thing out of his mouth, Coach, I'm so sorry.
Listen, because he cares about it. He's got a competitiveness to him. And I will say, the reason the head coach goes and hugs you is because that is a big-time play from the quarterback in a game where the momentum had swung.
Play fake, Jurkovec eludes Pollard, throws it to Day Reynolds, who gets maybe a yard. Run out by Derek Canteen on first down.
Yeah, trying to take a shot down the field, it was covered up, and as he climbs, pitches it back to Reynolds. Somewhat dangerous because it's obviously a lateral, but good job by Virginia Tech of not giving one up over their head.
At their best, what's worked for Pitt offensively?
Listen, I think some shots down the field off of hard play action. Now the problem ends up being if you're not running the football well, I think the secondary can play soft. They need to find opportunities for Kenny Johnson.
Jurkovec flushed, and a diving bid and catch by Kanate Mumfield at the 40. Wow.
That is an outstanding catch. It's a pretty good job by Jurkovec of getting rid of this football. He's escaping to his right because he needs to from the pressure. Nearly thrown away, and sometimes you need just guys to step up and make a play to get you sparked. Mumfield makes about as good of a catch as you can possibly see.
Team leader in catches this year with 16 coming in, has his second tonight. Much needed for 14 yards. Pistol from the 40, it's Flemister. He fights forward, gets 4 after a heck of a catch by the junior from Georgia.
Well, there haven't been many opportunities for these receivers, and so when you do get chances, I mean, that is full extension going to the ground. And Mansour Delane, who's a very good player, looking to rake the football. He's another guy that you need more touches. I really think, you know, we said it earlier with Means. Kenny Johnson's a really talented, speedy freshman. He needs some touches. Mumfield, and how about Gavin Bartholomew, who we haven't heard from since the first half?
He's only got that 1 catch, the excellent tight end for the Panthers. Flemister wrapped up, maybe a yard. Keyshawn Burgos forces third down.
Yeah, and I would expect Pitt to start to be a little more aggressive on early downs with how Virginia Tech is deciding to bring some pressure. And this place feels like it's just as loud as it was in the first half.
This place sold out 16 days ago. The team 1-3. Hokie Nation shows up nonetheless. A flag before third down at 5.
False start. Offense number 58. 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
Terrence Moore in his second career start. So you got makeshift offensive line. Meanwhile, we haven't seen Bub Means return to this game. We've only seen 7 carries from Rodney Hammond, who got banged up last week. Where does Pitt go?
Flemister is where they go, and I also think Kenny Johnson, a guy who's got a lot of speed, who they tried to get the football to a week ago. And they got to hurry up and get this ball snapped.
5 seconds. Johnson is the motion man. The freshman 2 in white, and Jurkovec just got the snap away. No, they didn't. Flag flies in from the back end, and whistles blow this dead.
I think we're going to have another false start.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
And then Jurkovec getting chippy with Feldarius Payne, the defensive tackle.
First of the half. It'll be 30 seconds.
And Pitt just needs to settle things down here.
Well, I think what they're saying is that Pitt took a timeout before the delay of game. So there is no flag for delay of game, and it's not 3rd and 15.
So we'll take you through this whole sequence again. Play clock winding down on Phil Jurkovec. And apparently granted a timeout. And then Jurkovec and Feldarius Payne mixing it up.
Jurkovec wasn't happy that the ball was knocked out of his hand after the play was blown dead. And I think Phil actually has a bit of a point there. You know, it's so loud. I think sometimes the question is, do they hear him, or they're acting like they don't hear the whistle being blown? You see the numbers for Jurkovec, just 5 of 14, and now you got a 3rd and 10. You got to be smart with the football. You don't have Bub Means in the lineup. To me, you're looking for Mumfield or Kenny Johnson.
Mumfield is slot left. Kenny Johnson, bottom of your screen, matched up with Dorian Strong. On 3rd down, they bring 4. Jurkovec downfield, incomplete. Sailed it, intended for Carter Johnson. 4th down.
And it's just a 3-man rush, but I think because there's been so much pressure on Jurkovec, he plays as if, you know, they had guys coming. 3-man rush. You got to give some time to develop, to find windows in the zones. You drop an 8 in coverage, and Jurkovec kind of just heaves it into the middle of the field around a lot of traffic.
Tucker Holloway awaiting the punt from Caleb Junko. It bounces at the 21 and takes a pit hop down inside the 10. So 4th quarter on the way. Pitt trails by 14.
Eddie, man, you don't have to do anything. It's not magic. Just do your job, make your reads, the throws will come.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. And here is Drones at the controls to start this drive from deep in Hokies territory. He runs for about 5 yards on 1st down. Brandon George the tackle in. Well, Drones, the ups have been really good. First ACC quarterback this year with at least 3 touchdowns through the air and 2 on the ground in a game this year.
That's really good. And, you know, I think Brent Prime makes a great point. You have a young quarterback who, in the 3rd quarter, has a critical error. But what was the response to the critical error? It was, look, don't try to do too much. Play on time, and big plays will come.
Tuten, toss, room. Runs over Javon McIntyre with a first down to the edge. Yeah, Brent Pry said to us, look, you evaluate Kyron Drones. Just 2 career starts coming in. And reminded us this guy was injured for a big portion of his senior year of high school as well, so he's still young in many ways.
Yeah, he's you know, getting reps, playing the game, and look, quarterback's the harder position in sports, and it's hard to get good at something if you don't get the opportunities to do it. And I said it earlier, watching him in that Marshall game, I felt like he was a player that was going to be improving.
Lane, jet sweep. Brent Pry promised touches, and there's Lane looking healthy with the burst for a first down before he got tripped up by Bam Brema.
Another example of the last 2 plays of outside runs. And you know, I think this Virginia Tech coaching staff has done a good job of just kind of self-assessment of, as this offense changes, and you figure out what your guys up front are good at blocking, you know, what types of runs they block well. Clearly getting to the perimeter tonight has been an advantage for the Hokies.
Again, we told you in the first half, Brent Pry said this would be a trenches game. Tuten, toss left this side. Again on the edge, and a 3rd straight gain of 11 before the tackle from Samuel Okunlolo.
It's another 10-plus yard run on a little pitch to get to the perimeter. Basically, they're not blocking the defensive end. They're reading him. And so the quarterback, if the defensive end squeezes, pitches it. If he goes up the field, the quarterback's going to keep it and run. That's the type of stuff you can do with Kyron Drones as your quarterback.
And again, feeding Bhayshul Tuten, who had only 9 carries last week, even though he gained 88 yards on him. Tuten straight up the middle this time. And he gets 8 yards. McIntyre the tackle. I mean, Brent Pry said to us as well, we're going into week 5 and we're trying to find our identity. He said that drives me nuts. Feels like they've got an identity in this game. Tuten powering ahead, close to the line to gain. Will depend on the spot, and initially looks like he has it.
I would agree with you in terms of the identity. And I think part of figuring out your identity is figuring out who your guys are. You know, like who are you trying to get the football to, and where on the field, and how do you get the football to them? And I think tonight it's been clear. They want to get Bhayshul Tuten the ball on the perimeter, and they want Kyron Drones to have the ability as a runner if the defense is trying to take that away.
100 yards now for Bhayshul Tuten, one of those guys for sure for the Hokies. Malachi Thomas spells him and powers ahead. Thomas shakes into the second level and down to the 25-yard line. 19 yards with Malachi Thomas. There is a flag back near the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, tripping, offense number 82, 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
It's the tight end, Benji Gosnell.
Who they've raved about with us, and in fact, we almost compared him to Pat Freiermuth. There he is, the left side of your screen. He kind of gets thrown out of the way, and unable to see the trip at the beginning of the play.
We talk about Kyron Drones and figuring out who the guys are. He gets another start with Grant Wells still sidelined. Brent Pry told us yesterday that he hoped Wells would be healthy enough that he could be the #2, maybe in a best case scenario. Said that Wells right now is throwing the ball well, but he's just not mobile enough yet. But while they go with Drones, they're carving out an identity.
Yeah, which I think could affect that rotation going forward.
First down and 20. And Drones turns it into 2 yards. Stay on Hayes' attack.
Especially when you consider that Kyron Drones, just a sophomore, you know, when Brent Pry has come back here to kind of change the culture and build something, you're looking for building blocks, and some of the things you've seen from Kyron Drones are foundational pieces to what you would want to build.
Felt like they had momentum into the second quarter of game number 2 against Purdue with Grant Wells. Then he took the hit. They thought the injury was nothing at first and realized it was more than that. Affected his mobility and then the way he was throwing the ball. So it's been Drones since. Play clock at 2, and looks like the Hokies got the timeout called with the play clock winding down.
Charge timeout. Virginia Tech.
We'll take it with them. And back with 10. You've been able to hear every single one of them, watching a pretty good showing from the Hokies.
A great showing. Look, a 1-3 football team coming into this football game. Sometimes what happens is the fan support will wane, and it certainly did not in this stadium tonight, and the Hokies have upheld their end of the bargain.
They've got 2nd down and 18 from midfield at their own 48. And Drones gets hit hard by Solomon DeShields. It's a loss of 2. 3rd down and long. Still 10 minutes to go in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of football left, and because of the quick strikes and big plays and the defensive score, Pitt's not out of this by any stretch of the imagination, especially considering the time. And look, I understand it's been a struggle offensively for them, but you got 3rd and forever here, and just got to keep everything in front of you. You have a chance to get the football back.
71st offensive snap for Virginia Tech, and Drones wide open. Daquan Wright rumbles toward the 20. Donovan McMillan the stop on a big gain to convert to the sophomore tight end.
It's a really nice play by Kyron Drones. It's 3rd and forever. You got to keep things in front of you. You got a post to the left by Felton. He's at the top here. He's going to run to the post, and then here comes the crosser, and it's just that crosser that goes behind the linebackers that sneaks free. And if you're Pitt defensively, I don't know how you let that happen.
They've been gashed for some big ones here in the last few minutes. That was 30 yards, and now Tuten continues to fight for extra yards. Bhayshul Tuten already with a 100-yard game, gets about 8 more.
And again, it's falling forward. Just seems to be pretty physical runs up front.
DeAndre Jules is down. We'll check out by 1. Final minute, and Audric Estime goes 30 yards to the house after Sam Hartman had converted on 4th down. The Irish tack on the 2-point conversion. Duke down 7 now. Suddenly.
What a devastating run to give up if you're Duke. Obviously a huge day on that campus with College Game Day there. Have a 4th and 16, and then that's the run that you give up to go down 7, obviously, after the 2-point play. Incredible.
We've had some good games in the ACC today. Clemson with a good showing. They bounce back at Syracuse. Here in Blacksburg, 12th play of the drive, 2nd down and 3. Bhayshul Tuten, the running back beside Kyron Drones. A drive that started at the Hokies' 8-yard line and has spanned 76 yards so far. Tuten makes 2 miss. Cuts upfield for a 1st down past Devonshire inside the 10. There is a flag back at the 25.
Holding. Offense number 87. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
It's on Harrison St. Germain, the backup tight end, redshirt freshman.
I can't say that I saw the hold there, but how about the finish of the run? Say 87's right here. This is who they call the hold on. He comes inside. Yeah, and he's got a lot of jerseys. Doesn't let go. That's the right call as Bam Brima's trying to get off the block. And sometimes when you got backs that cut it back the other way, just knowing when to let go, especially on run plays.
And Tuten certainly has been shifty here tonight. He's got 107 yards on the ground. From the 26 now, it's 2nd down and 13. Pressure from Lovelace. Drones pulls it and got away from Simon. They have made so many Panthers miss behind the line of scrimmage.
It's a great example of you have a great defensive call on. You're bringing pressure right into the run. And look, you've got a defender in the backfield. It should be a negative play. I mean, Randy Bates really has the perfect call on, but it's, look, our scholarship better than yours when Kyron Drones is in the backfield with the football.
He's carried it 21 times in this game. 41 yards, couple of touchdowns. Hokies as a team only 8 negative run plays of their 54 carries. Tuten on 3rd down. Tries to get a push, but will not get there. It'll be 4th down and about 2. So they will run out John Love.
Which obviously up 14 is the right decision. Make this a 3-score game. They make the kick.
John Love, the redshirt freshman from Spartanburg, South Carolina. He's long this year, 41 against Purdue in week 2. This from 33. Peter Moore is the holder. And from 33, John Love is good. 3-score game. The Hokies have the lead with 6 to go in the 4th in Blacksburg. In the 3rd, but he bounced back.
Yeah, how do you respond after critical errors as a quarterback? I think says a lot about you. Has the fumble that brings Pitt, back into this football game, but then responds by throwing the touchdown pass to Jalen Lane, and Brent Pry learned a little something about his quarterback in that moment as well.
And then most recently, Kyron Drones directs a 13-play, 77-yard drive that chewed up 8:54. Longest drive for the Hokies this year in terms of both yards and time of possession on that drive. Touchback here, 6:06 left for Pitt, down by 17. Panthers offensively, 246 total yards. They've completed 5 passes. Phil Jurkovec, 5 for 15. Injury question mark coming into this game. Got knocked out, didn't play the second half last week.
I think you got to find something. I mean, you got to manufacture completions at this point. Whether that's screen game, whether it's stuff around the line of scrimmage, just anything. I mean, look, even if you get a PI call down the field, there's something to get this offense moving.
All start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's on Ryan Baer, the right tackle. So you think about it, we said 246 yards of offense. 136 of those are on 2 plays. So you've had 110 yards on all but 2 plays in this game.
They had a post and a screen. But other than that, it's been a struggle.
Jurkovec, long throw to the field, and he finds Kanate Mumfield. Again, we haven't seen Bub Means return. We have not seen much of Rodney Hammond in this second half. And Jurkovec and the Panthers down 17, and Phil Jurkovec's had something to say.
Yeah, and look, he took a hit right as that ball was thrown, and I think that's part of the formula here for the struggle is that Jurkovec's been under pressure. He really has not thrown the ball well under pressure. When they've had guys open, he's missed them. And it's just not a good passing offense at this point.
Pre-snap movement.
And that doesn't help.
First half against Carolina, there was a lot of good for the Panthers offense. Frank Cignetti said to us, we just felt like we were in a rhythm. But it has been a very different story here tonight.
Ball start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
We asked Pat Narduzzi in that first half when Jurkovec was in the game and the offense was moving, what was different about Jurkovec compared to the first few games, and he couldn't put his finger on what it was. They're still searching for answers.
And I think they were able to get the ball out of his hand quickly. There was opportunities kind of quickly underneath to play like this, but Virginia Tech rallying into the football.
Great pursuit from Mansour Delane. And now we've got flags after the play as well. Mansour Delane celebrating after his tackle.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 4, his first of the game, and taunting. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I mean, Pitt offensively, they've had as many pre-snap penalties, 3 false starts, 2 delay of games as completions as they had entering this drive.
Yeah, which is why you see the look of disgust on Brent Pry's face when he gets Mansour Delane standing over Pitt players. He gets them to the ground. Giving a little bit of life to Pitt offensively. They haven't been able to do anything. Give them 15 yards for a personal foul. Could get him going.
To the 36, 4-man rush on a slant. Broken up by Dorian Strong. Intended for Day Reynolds.
A lot of times, and this came up with Frank Signetti Jr., we said, what have been the struggles? And he's like, well, first it starts with me. I got to call better plays. And then, you talk about the pass protection. You talk about the quarterback's got to be more accurate. And then guys need to create separation. And I feel like, at a bunch of different levels of this, they're just missing.
Three-man rush on second down. Jurkovec flushed. Kendricks pursues. Pass complete to Day Reynolds to the 40. Brings up third down. So what can you change? You've got a bye week next. Then you go Louisville, at Wake, at Notre Dame, at Florida State, and at Syracuse.
Yeah, look, so basically it doesn't get easy for you. It doesn't. And so, look, I think you got to have some of these guys that are playing on the offensive line grow up quickly and also find ways to, get the ball to the perimeter. Some of your playmakers.
Jurkovec on third down, complete to Mubfield. A bobbling catch, complete past the 50.
And that's a good throw right there. I mean, that's the thing about this for Pitt is, look, you've seen, there's evidence of Phil Jurkovec playing well in this conference. Just feels like it was a long time ago, multiple seasons ago at Boston College.
On the field of a completed pass for a first down is under further review.
They will check the catch from Kanate Mumfield. We'll give you the answer when we come back. 4:06 to go. Phil made the juggling catch at the sideline to call stands.
Yeah, and he bobbles it at first, but that regather right there, left foot down. I think he maybe even drags that toe a little bit. I think keeping the call of catch is the right decision, and still a little bit of life left for the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, on the move, down 17. Clock rolls to 4 minutes. First down from the plus 48. Jurkovec steps up, but right into a swarm of Chicago Maroon, including Feldarius Payne for a loss of 1.
To me, that's a result of getting hit all night in the pocket. I mean, Phil Jurkovec right there doesn't trust it. It's actually blocked fine. He has a pocket. Instead of staying in it, he climbs up into trouble. And that's why you hear defensive coaches talk all the time about hits on a quarterback being cumulative. That's evidence of it right there.
On second down, they bring 5. And Jurkovec again, dropped by Payne.
Same story. Jurkovec has a pocket, doesn't trust it. And just look at this. It's a 4-man rush with an add-on. It's blocked. Stay right there. Instead, you escape out into pressure. And now you got 3rd and Virginia left.
The entire Commonwealth.
I mean, pretty much.
There's a loss of 15. 4th Hokie sack. Play clock winding down. And did they get a timeout?
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
What's 5 more? That is a 3rd delay of game on the Panthers offensively. Yeah, he's not pleased. Are you kidding me?
I mean, listen, there is an element now, and again, we talked about Terrence Moore being in his first start. It's been loud in here, but the pre-snap penalties just are a killer. And listen, part of it is with an experienced quarterback, which you have, you feel like that should help alleviate some of those issues.
3rd down and 31. 4-man rush and a little crosser to Gavin Bartholomew. Slips one, lowers the shoulder on Alan Tisdale. He's out across the 40 to the 42. I mean, we did see the backup quarterback, Christian Veilleux, in the second half against Carolina last week. He was 7 for 18, played a part in 3 turnovers. They went to him. They have a bye week coming up. Very talented quarterback, the Penn State transfer. And Jurkovec, for his part, he gets a week to get healthier.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, the general belief in the building seems to be it's not all the quarterback. And like, I would generally agree with that assessment. However, a lot of missed throws tonight. We saw a crosser to Bub Means that was missed, a throw in the flat that was just dirted to Malcolm Epps when he was wide open. He had another ball that probably should have been intercepted, you know, by Tisdale in the middle of the field. And so I think there are enough things that make you wonder, like, look, when you're completing around 50% or fewer passes, that's a problem. Look, I'm not saying it would get any better going to Christian Veilleux. They went to him last week. It did not get better. But they're going to have to try to figure something out because the passing game just has not been good enough.
They'll go for it here. 4th down and 20. Jurkovec checks it down to Bartholomew, and he gets back past the original line of scrimmage, and it's a turnover on downs as they just check that down on 4th and 20. Hey, tomorrow afternoon, women's sports, they take over here on ACC Network. Starts at noon with soccer. Number 17 Duke against Virginia. Then we shift to volleyball starting at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Noles and Blue Devils, and then number 5 Louisville in action. 3-0 conference record, the best in the ACC for the Cards against the Wolfpack. A reminder, the huddle is coming up. Kelsey and company, as always, with your post-game coverage, sorting everything out from a big day in the ACC, and a great result here for Virginia Tech.
And, you know, you kind of look over at me on that 4th and forever play to check it down. Obviously, like, kind of tough situation for Pitt. You think you're coming back in the football game, but I don't know. Like, to me, I want to see a quarterback. I get it's been a long night, but like, you got to try to push the ball down the field. You're still fighting for this football game, and I think that's a disappointing ending for Pitt offensively. And on the flip side of it, for Virginia Tech, you look at Brent Pry and Bhayshul Tuten, the job that these guys did tonight, Kyron Drones, they should feel really encouraged, because I think Pitt, even at 1-3, they got a very good defense. Offensively, it's been a great performance, and then on the defensive side of the ball for Virginia Tech, they just defended the run better than they have, you know, earlier in the season.
Tonight's playmaker of the game is presented by Honey Baked Ham, and no surprise who it is, Kyron Drones, accounting for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think that going forward, we're going to see this guy accounting for a lot of Virginia Tech's offense. He has a very unique skill set. They've obviously put a lot on his plate. He's been able to handle it, and that's a lot of production. And that's 2 weeks in a row where he's been the guy scoring for Virginia Tech offensively.
And how about this for the Hokies as an offense? It's the most points they've scored in nearly 23 months. November 13th of 2021 put up 48 against Duke. Well, Kyron Drones leads him to 38 in this one.
And it started off with a beautiful throw to DeQuan Felton on the go route, and then got to see some of the athleticism of Drones on the keeper. Then he hits Bhayshul Tuten, the talented back, for the score. Kyron Drones with a little more power into the end zone on the quarterback draw, and when they needed it big time after a critical error, it's an excellent ball to Jalen Lane for the score.
Third down, and Malachi Thomas puts it on ice with a first down. And how about for Brent Pry what this means? He told us he talked to the team on Sunday about his 2016 Penn State team. Started 2-2. Then they're playing Minnesota at home in Happy Valley, and they're losing at halftime. And the fans are chanting, "Fire Franklin." He said, "We won that game in overtime, ripped off 9 straight, went to the Rose Bowl." So that was the message he preached at the beginning of this week to his team.
And he also told his team, like, "Hey guys, do you see the improvement? I see the improvement. I feel like we're close." And he said, "You just never know when you're actually going to kind of turn that corner." And it certainly felt like they turned the corner tonight.
It's a win for the Hokies in their ACC opener, 38-21 over Pitt. Ben Narduzzi pays